man, doesn't that character look like Jester? Look. There it is. Look, doesn't that character look just like Jester? Like almost like Jester? I think it was the skin tone. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Nothing Ventured, Nothing Game. I, as always, am your host, GM Jared. And this was going to be one of my quick 10-minute reviews of the newest 5th edition Adventure Path, Call of Netherdeep, written in the Critical Role universe. Got this book like about a week ago, and I was reading it, and I was like, oh man, this is going to make for such an amazing review. And I figured out I could do this review in about 30 seconds, even less. Actually, put a timer somewhere, because I could do this, I could do this before you could heat up your cup of coffee. Ready? Firstly, get this book because of 3 reasons. 1, mid-level campaign. It starts you at 3rd level, ends you at 13th level. That's great. Secondly, artwork is amazing as always. Love the artwork. But also, it's an aquatic-based campaign. Not much has been done in 5th edition universe with aquatics. I know we had Ghost of Saltmarsh. And last but not least, and this is why I'm doing this video, rivals. So, done. That was it. That was my review. Get the book. One of the best books out currently on the market. This book needs to be part, if you're a GM, it needs to be part of your established readings, right? Like, there's tons of books I would recommend to read for GMs, starting GMs, prepping GMs, but this is one of those. And this is really what I wanted to talk about, the rival system. And I keep saying that, and when I was reading this, it threw me back to like nostalgia, right? Like, so I remember getting Pokemon Blue, right? For the Game Boy, old school. And then boom, it pops up, this is your rival, what's their name? And you put in anything, and now it's Gary, right? But originally there was like, back then we didn't have the show at the same time the game was out, so you just put whatever you wanted in. So you put your rival's friend's name in, and you have like this competition where the rival is kind of pushing you forward. And you see that in a lot of movies and a lot of video games or stories where there's like a healthy rivalry. And in that healthy rivalry, the main character or characters are pushed beyond their limits. And I don't know who wrote this rivalry system. Look how beautiful this book is. I don't know. And these are actually your rivals. That's how important the rivalry system is. They're on the cover. Surprise, surprise. Actually, when I got this, I thought that was Jester. Turns out it's not Jester, but I'm so surprised at this, and I don't know who wrote this, whether it was like Matt themselves and they sat down and wrote the whole system, or kind of outlined it and then it was extrapolated upon. But man, oh man, this rivalry system. And the reason why I say that's important is because we've all played in campaigns where we've well, I know myself, right? I can't say we all. You might be a new player and you haven't gotten there yet. But sometimes you'll play in a campaign and there'll be like NPCs that become rivals or kind of like hindrances to your characters. And as a GM, I know like it's hard. Sometimes these NPCs don't have an established world, or you keep working to build these NPCs up higher and higher. And then finally, how do you integrate them in the campaign? How do you not? And that's why I say this is great, because this book shows how you properly would integrate rivals, a rival adventuring group. And that's kind of what this book is about, that rivalry and bringing your players forward. And, here are all the rivals. They're all pretty awesome. And let me flip to this page and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So again, beautiful artwork, new monsters, new abilities, new magical items, as always with these books. But the rivals, they give you multiple tiers. So they say for this chapter and this chapter, they should be tier 1. And then you turn to the appendices and you see them on tier 1. And then it says for here, they should be tier 2. And they say like, oh, okay, if there should be 5 rivals for the number of PCs, and if there should be less, it recommends doing like a reason why that rival wouldn't be there, or you don't even have to include that. They do recommend all 5 though, and this is what I'm talking about. So when whoever wrote this, we all played video games, right? Or video games are the best thing. Like when you're fighting an enemy, an NPC, and you're fighting them, and then like they say something, it's like part of their battle statements, or like the scripted statements that they'll say during a period. They do that in this. So there's these rivals battle chatter, and then it talks about what each rival can say, and that's really important because it also grows how these rivals are, and it emphasizes how their personality is. So I can look at this, and it gives me kind of like what their goal is, but also through what they say in combat and how it interacts, it also like grows their personality, and that's kind of important. I remember I was playing. Oh, now I'm kind of getting off topic, but I was playing in a campaign. I was GMing this campaign. I took the time, and this was the first time I ever did this. I took the time with my NPCs, and I jotted down like just what they wanted, and also personality traits. So like they were aggressive in conversation, meaning they would be a dominant talker. Like if there was a quiet person, they would overtalk that person. So that was something I gave them as like a personality trait, and it made all the characters feel more alive. And I think that's awesome that they included like these battle chants, because, and also like reasons why they're going and they're part of this world is because these rivals are so integral to the story, but also it makes them feel alive, and it makes the world feel alive. So it gives you that like, oh man, this is real. These are real characters. These aren't just like generic NPC 1, NPC 2. You know, it's nothing like that. On top of that, with the rival system, you have these like options as you go, and again, a little bit of spoilers here, but there are ways for your characters, and kind of reminds me of the Strixhaven, where you had like the relationship meter. It has similar way where like if you're friendly, you know, if you're friendly with these rivals, they can help you, and you would have advantage on checks to get them to aid you, and then also to have them help you. Also, they have like also if you're hostile, you know, negatives. Another thing I really liked is they're not rivals in the sense of like they're trying to kill you. It can happen if your players do try to like to kill off the rivals. The rivals will react in kind, but it does not that it recommends, but it's like it's supposed to be a friendly rivalry, like Ash and, you know, Gary from Pokemon. It's like that. Like they want to push each other forward, and that's similar in this. And all of them just kind of have that interaction, and then at the end, there's you know, how your friendship affected them or how your relationship affected them changes like the outcome, and there's like a little epilogue that you could read for your players when you're done with the campaign. Again, going from level 3 to level 13 is a great option. But yeah, that rivalry system, and it's so simple. The way it was written in this book is so simple that you could take that and just lift it and then put it in other campaigns. And you know, you don't have to make the campaigns all about that rivals, but maybe that's like a side thing you want to do. And you could just take this from and then put it in that, and then just say, okay, in combat, Norcus Van Snooglesnatcher, which was a gnome wizard I played with. So I'm stealing it. Sorry about that, Jeff. But Norcus says this in combat and acts like this in combat. Norcus also is driven by the want for knowledge. So now I have this rival show up and this character show up. And it's really interesting because I feel like rivals were such an important part in stories. And, you know, you have your super evil rivals, right? Like Indiana Jones and the rival archaeologist who was working for the bad people. And they had like friendly banter between them, but like in the end it turned, that person was evil, so they kind of had to go. They actually, Indiana Jones, I don't think gets rid of that person. That person gets rid of themselves by choosing the wrong cup. If you get that reference, you're cool, and we should hang out. But yeah, stuff like that. Rivals are so interesting, and I think it's really fun because we all have that like little drive to like want to like have that little friendship, right? Like friends even have that like little bit of rivalry. Nothing hostile. yeah, so the rival system is just so important. And I think a lot of people did the reviews of the book, and that's great, but skipped over how awesome the rival system is. And I can't stress, like, I feel like it was super well written. B, these characters feel like they are alive and they're in depth. Like the ogre is one of my favorite characters. It reminds me of a character I created, a PC I created in one of my campaigns years ago, and I might bring them back when I play Call of Netherdeep, because I feel like they would. I want them to be friends. Like I was, obviously, my character wouldn't know that, but me metagaming, I would want those two characters to be friends because they seem like a really cool character. Obviously, depending on how the GM plays them. And that's really cool. They do say, you should have all 5 of them there. They do say, hey, if you can't have all 5, this is how you might want to get rid of them. Or if you want to add in another rival, they have an option to say, like, let's say you have like 6 players or 7 players, which is a lot. You can add in more rivals. And that's awesome. I think that's so much fun. To have that rivalry system and that like competition to push each other forward, and to even like, they're not even bad rivals. Moving forward, the rival system will be something I will always be using in my personal campaigns. Not centered about the whole thing, but every so often maybe I'll throw in like a quick rivals. Like maybe there's the big 3. They go to a town, they hear about these 3 heroes who are like helping the town, and then they kind of have like a game of who could get the magic relic faster, and it's a friendly rivalry. They take bets and stuff like that. Or maybe they go to a town and there's like a jousting, a jousting tournament, and now these are their 3 versus my campaign's heroes. So there's like a archery contest and a jousting contest and like a martials contest, or magic, depending on maybe I have an archer, a fighter, and a wizard in my party, and they boom, now I got that. Now you have these like little rivals, and maybe there's like a side quest that wouldn't be main story, but like, if you want to change things up as you go. So I hope you had fun. I hope you go out and buy this book, and I hope you take my recommendation on how the rival system works. I can't really go into greater detail with it, because if I go into too much detail, I spoil the book. And if I don't do enough detail, I don't do the book enough credit. So rivalry, it's amazing. This is definitely, I'm super excited to play this campaign. So with all that being said, tell me what you think. Tell me your thoughts on the rivalry system. Have you implemented your own version of a rivalry system? Has that worked out? Have you done it in your campaigns? In the comments below. And if you haven't, please just click that subscribe button. I know in other videos they push it. If you can, it's just a click, and it helps everyone out. It helps us out. It helps the algorithm push our content out there a little bit harder. And I appreciate it. So with all that being said, we are Nothing Venture, Nothing Game, rolling dice, giving advice with a little bit of that New York spice. See everyone around. Man, doesn't that character look like Jester? Look. There it is. Look, doesn't that character look just like Jester? Like almost like Jester? I think it was the skin tone. And then that was the character I was talking about, the ogre. They are awesome.